Ladies and gentlemen, we're in for a long one today. I really fell behind on Nanatsu no Taizai. Yes, it's lit, and I can't believe that it took this long for me to get back in full counter. So way back in the way back of the way back, I was on Nanatsu heavy every day. Right there with Bon, my man King, Diane, why won't you remember? The rest of the gang. Where I left off, chapter 160. So this is about to be long. Anyway, I'm going to try to make sure that I cut like each chapter down like as short a time as I can. Because I'm going to burn through most of this. Because it's I have like a lot of sticky notes right here. I'm going to burn through most of this. And then we can get to like one of the final chapters. And just kind of like revel in the fact of the betrayal, the twists, the turns. Let's go. Brandino! So basically where our last left off, they were stuck in the maze, and Meliodas couldn't really get through the wall, so of course, out of nowhere, Bond shows up because he got separated from Elaine. So, they're sitting there like, alright, what are we gonna do? So Melly's like, go find your girl, Bond, and Bond's like, nah, she's alright, I'm gonna help you out, bro. And then basically, they team up, bust through the wall, see their friends, and realize that their strength was too great and busted all the way to the center. Boom. So then, 161, jump in the next chapter, we find out that not only is one of the commandments the giant kingdom's founder, but the second other commandment, the other one, just so happens to be the very first fairy king. The first, like number one, the first that the tree decided was the king of all fairies. His name is Gloxania, and now he's the commandment of repose. So it's like, I guess he's the infinite revive freaking guy. Next chapter. So now they're about to start the tournament, 162, and basically some of the guys from the other kingdom are like, hey, how do we know your power is real and whatever? And then like, of course, a little couple things go around, but Gowther comes out of nowhere and just lands right on Escanor, and then Escanor's like, come on, man, what are you draw? He gets impaled. Like, the Fairy King just says, like, hey, I'm trying to show my power now. Stabs through Escanor out of nowhere, and it just brings him back to life. Like, this is my power. Like, if you think I can't do what I say I could, then you're sorely mistaken. So they're kind of like, alright, he's got the stuff. And now they're separating the teams. So we got Meli and Bon, the Meli-Bon duo, automatically. Hendrickson and Dreyfus's little son, Diane and King. That other kingdom, those, I think they're called like Matrakas or something like that. They look like pumpkin people. Then we got this one monk guy and the other guy from that pumpkin place, so they're on a team. Arthur and this dude called Nanazashi, it's Nanazashi. This dude looks like they always gotta put some random super cool ass freaking samurai in there somewhere. Like, this dude is like the smoothest samurai. He doesn't wear a lot of armor. He's got the little wheat grass in his mouth. He's kind of looking down on everyone. Shing! Like, come on. Then they got these two Gil guys, Gil Thunder and Gil Frost. Like, get another name. Then they got Hawk and Escanor, Gowther and Jericho, Matrona and the Oslo, which is like King's like dog friend, Silver Knight and someone else. And then they got this Demon Bird squad. And then they got some clones because they said they wanted to make 16, which is like, who's the other team? Boom! It's Elizabeth and Elaine. Like, what? They're in the tournament? 163 starts off, don't touch my girlfriend. they're like, mind your own business. The girls are like, we can handle it. We're girls, yeah. So then like they beat the other kingdom with kindness, and then of course the guys get sucked into the abyss. Classic evil villain stuff. So then 164, after they see like, oh, this crap happens, then Meliodas and Bon are basically talking like how they want to hurry up. They're fighting the bird people, of course. They're like, let's hurry up and freaking finish this so we can get out of here. And he's like, because you know you want to get with your boo. And he's like, stop talking, dog. You know you want to get with your boo. And he's like, come on, bruh. Of course, he like knocks one of the freaking birds. Like, they shrugged these two demons off like they were garbage, son. It was the funniest. Anyway, so then we get to, because of course Bon and Meli freaking destroyed those guys. So we get to the Jericho, Gauther. Wait, are we there? No, we got to King and Diane versus the Delore and Glock's clones. King, of course, basically is like, you know what? I'm sitting here not using my full strength. Let me just go ham. So he goes ham. Chasterfold, seal release. That little fluff bear turns into this freaking Gigan Kuma. 166. I wrote in my notes, splendid. Because like there was this part where Delore had like, he has like a rag over his face. So it's like he's sitting there the entire time like this. So he's like talking, and then they're like, oh, they did that, and he's like, splendid. Like, what? It was so funny. Anyway, but that doesn't have anything to do with the plot. So, of course, Chasterfold comes down with a mighty hand of like the lightning god when he rears back and throws this javelin straight through I think he took down like the Delore clone first and then went after the Glock's clone. So he kind of took him down in like one shot and obliterated him. But the Delore clone is made of earth and he came back. So chapter 167, Diane basically comes in with her little clone like golems, which they weren't that strong, and it's like oh, Diane. And then like the way that Diane kind of overcomes this in the next chapter, basically Diane pours all of her spirit into actual stone golems that remind her of people that she loves. All of them being people of the team, of course. King is like, oh, there's no King clone. Until finally, I'm like, but the way that they showed it is like you saw everybody else except for one. So you're like, you know that's King. You know that's the King clone right there. And you know he's going to be the fucking strongest. So he gets in there. All of the other clones, because Matrona's really close, Elizabeth's really close, Meliodas is really close, and King, of course, is the closest. So they all jump in. They do some type of damage to the Delore clone. It's not enough. King freaking One Punch Man's through this clone so easily, and it just comes back with this derp face. And he's like, but why did you make him look so weak? And he's this powerful. And she's like, well, because you're cool. And it's like, King knows deep down that Diane's love never dies. Anyway. So the next two chapters is basically Gauther going through his motions of like, I want a heart. I want to be able to feel things. Like, let me feel something. And they're like, well, you don't got to kill your friends to do it. And Gauther's like, fuck it. So then he starts beating up his own teammates and other people. And then he basically mind controls his next two chapters. So that's 68 and 69. He mind controls freaking Escanor into like a nightmare where he's not worth anything and he's nothing and he's just a monster. And the only problem with that is Escanor's nightmare includes freaking Merlin, which Escanor will always be in love with Merlin, regardless if she doesn't want him. And that, in turn, turns that nightmare into a straight-up dream of hope and gives him some pseudo-sun powers. He bursts up in this like power mode out of nowhere, and they're like, shit, his freaking power level just jumped. So he's up there about to rain down the freaking Thor hammer of the sun god on Gauther. Boom! Gauther's still alive. Of course, Gauther shanks him because he's like, oh, you missed, so I might as well take this opportunity. But then like they're like, what the fuck is wrong with you, Gauther? He wasn't aiming at you to begin with. You look down, boom, Both of the commandments are taken down like it's nothing, son. Destroyed. Well, Meli, seeing this opportunity, jumps in and starts laying hands on these commandments, son. He starts giving them the work. The work, my man. The work. So of course now, excuse the wildness. Of course now, Meli's like, you know, giving them the hands. They're like, oh, but we're still strong. Freaking Glocks is getting like dogged every 5 minutes. If it wasn't for the fact that he has that like monster reborn drop every couple of seconds, like, yo, they would have been dogged early. They're literally getting out unscathed because of that ability. If he didn't have that, they would have been obliterated. But anyway, so Meli knows why Glocks and Delore joined. Glocks got betrayed and lost something very important to him, and Delore just wanted to be the strongest. Like, you were already the strongest. Why do you still want to be stronger than that? Like, come on, dog. So basically, now he's fighting those two and giving them hands and everything, but there comes a point where Meliodas is kind of using up a lot of strength, and they keep reviving, and then out of nowhere, because Meli's the only one that can face them, out of nowhere, like, Delore's like, there's a prophecy that's going to lead to your death. You see some meteors coming down. Oh, it's the other commandments. They just showed up out of nowhere. So now it's Meli versus the 10. Neskrilla's still alive, of course, which is ridiculous. Estarossa is the one that's using Meliodas's old body or his human body. I don't know what the correlation is between them, because technically, like, the body that one demon is in, which is Zell, which is supposed to be Meliodas' younger brother, Zell is using one of the because there's two Meliodas bodies. There's two bodies that look like that, and Zell is using one, Meliodas is in the other, and then they have this human body that is what Meliodas was depicted as when you would see him as like a grown man. So it's like, this is what he looks like. So I don't know what this body has inside of it, but something is with this body that now, the dude, what's his name? Estarossa, that's the body he's using, because originally his body was the body that Meliodas is in. Even though Meliodas' body technically is his own. So it's like, what's the correlation there? And then also, yeah, I don't know who Zell was before. I don't know, because they showed like a flashback a couple chapters ahead where they showed like, oh well, that's getting ahead of myself. But they're all back. Fraudrin is the one that's taking over Dreyfus's body. Grey Lord is that Hayao Miyazaki clone. Meli throws the first blow. Zell freaking takes his arm off like it's nothing. Just treats him like trash. Do this chain spell, which basically keeps Meli in the spot. So every time Meliodas is trying to leave, it basically would just yank him back and just keep him in the center, and they're just pounding on him constantly. So then, now we also get a taste to see of Derriere. Her fine ass. Talking straight from the ass. Let me tell you something. Like, that's her catchphrase, but anyway. We get to see her power firsthand, which is basically like a compound power. Every time she combos in, like, each one of her combos increases her, like, force by 100 tons. So if she's punching, her first punch could be like 1,000-ton punch. Once she hits you with the second, that's 1,100. The third, 1,200. The fourth, 1,300. Like, it's literally rising by 100 tons every punch. The way that they said it is that no mere person ever got past 50. Of course, Meliodas is not a normal guy, so of course he's going to be able to take over 50 blows from her, but those 50 blows break his arms, so now he's armless. But he's still fighting strong with a counter at the last second, because Mon Piet, which is basically like Derriere's like guardian, like they're always together kind of thing, that duo that's just kind of like in tandem. But he tries to does this Phoenix Flower burn thing, and Meliodas full counters out of that, and then he's like stuck and he can't do anything. So Dreyfus / Fraudrin comes in and starts popping a lot of smack, and Meliodas is like staring into like the eyes of Dreyfus, and it's like, yo, come out, dog. So Fraudrin is like, oh, you can't get past He's like, Sir Meliodas! And it's like, as soon as Meliodas dropped his guard, boom, he freaking hits him with the blast. Which is like, I was sitting there thinking like, come on. Like, at first I was like, no, Dreyfus, break through. But then I was like, oh, it was a trap. It was a ploy. Like, he just did that so that Meliodas would drop his guard so he could take more damage. Little did we remember, Meliodas has an ace up his sleeve. He's basically charging up his body to use the ultimate revenge counter. So now Meliodas has taken all of these attacks. He's basically stored all of this damage, broken arm, severed arm, everything, all of this beam damage and everything. And now he's about to release it in the revenge counter, which double, triple folds the freaking attacks that were just laid on him. So my man, the demons are about to get wiped out. The swing catch. Somebody catches the blade. It's freaking Estarossa. Stops the blade cold, one hand, and basically just says like, yeah, I'm sad because you used to be my favorite person and now I have to take you out. I'm like, bruh, how did you stop that much power in like a second? Like, how did you stop that? It's not even the fact that it was like a millisecond. It's like the last second he stopped it with one hand, and then he's looking like all of that full counter that was coming back at you. I guess because he stopped the blade before the wave could come out. So I'm guessing that's probably why nothing happened. But like the earth was, like the wind was circling, getting ready to freaking let them have it. So now we get a backstory into Meliodas, which we find out that he was the original leader of the 10 Commandments. Which is like, shocker. But is it though? Because you knew Meliodas was a demon. You knew he was wild powerful. Like, if you didn't know already from jump, he had demon power. So you were like, is he possessed? But he's still himself. The demons recognize him, but they hate him for some reason because he betrayed them. Which means he has to be a demon. Like, he literally is a demon. Like, he's not a human that's possessed. That is literally his soul. His soul is Meliodas. So we come to find out that he was the original leader. He betrayed them for some woman 3,000 years ago. Which I have some thoughts about it, but I won't say until the end. So now, we're basically at the climax. Meliodas is about to get dogged, but of course Naskrilla comes up and it's like, oh, it's time to get payback because his friend decided to come and burn me up, so I'm gonna come and destroy his friend. And, you know, she's coming in and she's about to attack him and take his soul. Out of nowhere, Bond teleports in, snaps baby girl's necks, fox hunted all of her hearts out, and stomps them things into submission. Woo! Bond with the crushing blow. Woo! So then, 177. Yeah, we've been jumping like way chapters through. So, of course, now, Estarossa is, like, you know, barely even fazed by Bond's, like, complete decimation of Naskrilla. He's like, well, really, I was going to kill her anyway, but I'll just let you do it because, you know, whatever. But he flies through and stabs Meliodas in the heart, and it's like, he's so fast. Like, he's so fast. But the thing was that Meliodas is still up, and what he reveals now is that demons have 7 hearts. So it's like you have to stab through all of those 7 hearts to actually kill a demon. And he's sitting there going one by one, stabbing through the hearts. Now, Bond is up there, like, doing his best. I mean, going full, like, rage, like, trying to take him out. He's barely even flinching. He gets down to, like, the 6th heart, Bond, and freaking, even the demon is actually crying because he actually is about to kill Meliodas. So they're both in, like, a state of, like, disarray, but Bond can literally do nothing with all of his power. He is barely even remotely strong enough. Meliodas gets taken down. Bond gets obliterated. Which I'm like, damn, Bond just got eviscerated. But then in the back of my mind, I was like, I completely forgot that he regenerates. Like, I was like, oh yeah, he could just come back. But, so 178 opens up. It's been a month after Meliodas' death, and the demons have been raining down upon, the whole land that they're in now. Slaughtering and turning people. People are being turncoats because they don't want to die, or people are just dying, all their souls are being destroyed. Yada yada, blah blah blah, death for everyone. Then we cut back to the pig tavern. I forget what they call it. I'm mad that I forgot. But anyway, we come back to the tavern. Elizabeth's still fumbling around with her breast everywhere, and Hawk is still cleaning up the messes. And we got some random guy who I guess was like one of the people that was an early enemy in the story, which they just said his name, but I don't think he's like important to the story. Or maybe he is, but I don't know. But he kind of walks away unscathed and everything. Elizabeth's still crying over Meliodas' body, and out of nowhere, before that, we also get to see Arthur and Nanatsu. I'm thinking I'm saying his name right. We get to see them in battle. Of course, Nanatsu's over there destroying these demons like it ain't nothing. One sword strike kind of hit, and Arthur's sitting there doing his golden slash and whatever. But Nanatsu is like really on edge about that cat that's like on Arthur's shoulder. Which then the cat speaks, and he's like, little old me. Which I'm trying to remember if that's like a tell that Merlin used to say back in the day, like all the time. She would say, oh, little old me, kind of thing. To kind of like basically diffuse the fact that she's wild powerful. I'm thinking that's probably Merlin. These are all just thoughts, but I'm thinking that's probably Merlin. Just regaining her power, literally, so she has to go through different forms before she can finally fully come back. We find out also in the next chapter that the Wandering Knight happens to be Zataris, which is Gilthunder's father, which was thought to be dead after Hendrickson and Dreyfus like murdered him, which he ate like a poison pie. They made it seem like he got stabbed to death, but the way he says it is like he ate like a pie and got poisoned, and then he like died like that. So I don't know. So then we get to go into the past and see where all of their stories first came together. We get to see how Meliodas was protecting Elizabeth since birth. Which means, and the thing is, it's not even like he was protecting her, like, back away. He was like, back off my woman. Look, this is a baby. And you're calling her your woman? Like, whoa, bro. It's like, it's almost endearing, but it's like, ugh. Like, you scheming on a baby dog? But then you gotta think he's 3,000 years old. The reason why he's calling Elizabeth her woman is because her soul is the same soul of somebody that he loves, and it's been reincarnated into this baby. So really, he's probably not thinking about the baby in like a time frame where he could be lecherous. He's not going to be gross about it. But it is his woman in there, and he's like, he has to wait. Of course, he's eternal, so he's just waiting. But he has to wait until the woman is grown enough to where he can grope her up. But, still. But he was defending the baby and everything, and he joined the King's Guard so that he could defend her. And then the sins got created by Merlin, and yada yada backstory. Then we find out that Meliodas is in purgatory. But he's been talking to somebody in purgatory, which hasn't even been revealed. So we don't know who's in purgatory with Meliodas, but somebody's in there, because Meliodas is not in the spirit realm, and he's clearly not alive, so he's somewhere. 184 is when it started popping off. So then we find out that the demon spirit of Meliodas' father, which is basically the demon king, is in purgatory with him. He also cursed Meliodas to be forever alive, so that's why Meliodas can never truly die. And then also he's feeding off of Meliodas' emotions, which is probably why he keeps letting... probably why he cursed them, because Meliodas' emotions are what's giving him power. And because he was able to betray his whole family for emotional content, that strength is what the Demon King is looking for to resurrect himself. So he's using Meliodas as a catalyst to kind of pull himself out of the grave. But while that's happening, the commandments are sitting there basically about to take over this last kingdom. And my man Escanor comes up. Now the craziest part about it is that these demons decided to come up during the day. Like, they should know. Well, they probably don't know about Escanor, which is probably why they didn't know to not come during the daytime. But my man, I was like, yo, it's daytime out. Y'all are about to get dogged, son. There is nothing you could do. King Sin of Pride, he is about to freaking destroy y'all. So he comes up. The demons got everybody on graviton lockdown. So they're like, oh, we can't move, we can't lift our arms, whatever. And then, like, out of nowhere, you just see these heavy-ass footsteps. This has no effect on me because I don't bow down to someone below me. His mustache. So then it's like, I'm sitting there, I'm like, yo, Escanor is about to destroy this dude. Destroy, my man. Destroy! So, at the end of the thing, Estarosta is like, oh, you got a lot of pride on you. And Escanor looks down on him. Pride is my sin. So it's like, woo! Escanor's about to go off! So then the chapter continues. Because I started to lose where the chapters were ending and beginning because I was super into it. Escanor lays a couple hands. You know, he gives him a couple good hits. Estarosta throws some back, and Escanor is really taking some blows, but you're like, is he really though? Escanor gets up and throws like a sun punch at him. Estarosta blocks and is like, ha, and just gets taken down, and they're like, he punched him through his block, and he's taking him to his knees? Whoa, this guy's a monster. Can you even call him human? Basically. So now, of course, Escanor is trying to finish him off. He gets a deadly blow, but you're like, Escanor definitely landed that blow, and the other guy was not fast enough. Like, Escanor landed that. Of course, Estarosa's taken over Meliodas' seat, which is the 10th commandment of charity, which is basically, I guess, how he gets the full counter. So I'm thinking that Meliodas was the original sin of charity, which is how he had the full counter, the revenge counter. He would take all of the things and give it back. So that's where the full counter is coming from. But now that Estarosta has that power, he was able to throw it back on freaking Escanor. So Escanor basically pips up and starts to create his own mini pocket sun. Of course, this thing is way too much radiation and heat that it's melting the armor. And he's like, you're going to melt your friends, dog. And he's like, true. He's like, isn't there a lake nearby? And Bond's like, yeah. All right. Boom. Smacks him over to the lake. Eviscerates him inside of the lake and just evaporates all the water. Estarosa's like, if I didn't put up my darkness shield in time, you might have got some damage off me. But luckily, Worm kills himself. I'm just fine. So now, of course, they're going blow for blow and everything, but Escanor is just sitting there, like, shrugging off a lot of damage, and he's charging up another sun. Estarosa does that in dark, like, wraps it in darkness, and then he tries to go for a swing, but he gets full countered. And then it's like, Estarosa's getting really boasty. He's just like, oh, yeah, I got this in the bag. And then, of course, Zell is up top, like, watching to make sure that he's not going to get dogged. Then they cut away, and it's like this random farm, and it's like, how do you think I'm going to get this done by noon? Like, this is not even, and I'm sitting there like, McCree? Like, it's about to be noon. But anyway, so they're sitting there, and at the farm, the person was like, yeah, you still got like a half an hour left before it's noon, so you got plenty of time. So I'm thinking like, Escanor isn't even at full power yet, and he's already dogging these guys. So after, I guess, the marker that said that he has a half an hour left, Escanor just gets like a power increase massively. Like, he gets a massive power increase. And you gotta think now, he gets this massive power increase before noon, and then when noon comes, he is at the peak of his power, which he'll be like Titan-sized, big, and wild strong. Like, he would be crazy powerful. But Escanor is just below that. So he basically busts out of the darkness with an even more powerful sun. He throws it at freaking Estarossa, which Zell tries to save his life, but they both get obliterated and just finishes them. And then he's like, I took a quite considerable amount of damage, but it's nothing to compare to what's about to be happening. Because I guess he's used a lot of his strength, but it's about to be midday. So his strength is about to cap. And it's like, if he's at his cap right now, especially at his kind of weakened state, he might not be able to withstand his own cap. So he's like, yeah, I'm probably going to have to rest a little bit. Because, my man, I'm way too powerful to be called a man. So then we get to, back to the fight where we have old man Denzel, like the king's basically older brother. And he walks out and he's about to face off against Derriere and Mon Piet. So he's like, alright, I'm going to do my last ploy. He pulls out this sword and the demons are like, whoa, there's something in there. He summons this giant goddess from the goddess clan and summons her into his body so that she can use his body. And then, like, she's going out there obliterating low-ranked demons. And freaking Derriere is pissed. I mean, wild angry. Like, her claw gauntlet, whatever, darkness gauntlet claw, whatever you want to call that. That shit is huge. Her hair just went Super Saiyan. Like, yo, she is angry, son. She jumps up. Denzel hits her with a blade strike, but of course it does nothing. And then the angel named, what is her name? Neorosula? I don't know what I wrote here. But she's the Divine Lance Corporal. And she's basically like quivering. Like she just bitches up after her sword breaks. Like she's just like, well, let's think about this right fast. I mean, the angels kind of did, what they had to do because, I was just following orders because, we didn't mean to kill your children because, and I'm like, oh God, like, she knows she's about to get fucking bodied. But it's like she revealed a lot of why, even though the demons are kind of trying to do what they want to do anyway, there was still a pact that they had. And the angels decided to renege on that pact. And they also decided to straight up just decimate children of the demon clan and enslave the other people and all this other stuff. Like, they basically just decided to ban it after they made a pact to say we are on equal ground. They decided to use that pact to do a coup and just freaking turncoat on them and just destroy the treaty that they just did. So, of course, the demon clan is not only pissed because they wanted to take over the Earth Realm. They did a pact to stop it, but now the angels just straight up said, no, we're going to take over the Earth Realm, in a sense, by leaving them alone and letting them worship us, kind of thing. And the demons are like, so you not only banish us to the underworld, renege on the pact, kill all of our offspring, and freaking banish us and chain us and do all this other stuff. Of course the demons are mad. So, they're coming back, and she's already pissed, and Mon Piet is like, oh, man, you gotta stop wilding out, bro. So then at the end of the chapter, the rest of the gang runs in and try to get everybody out, but of course, Dreyfus is in there like, not going anywhere. Chapter ends. So, 88 comes, and they sense that Elizabeth and the rest, and Zataria and Zataris, and the pig and Mama Pig are coming to kind of get the king and everybody out. They try to go and intercept. Derriere looks at Elizabeth with a strange look of like, I know you from somewhere. And Elizabeth's like, I don't know you. And then like after Derriere goes after Zataris because he's trying to defend himself, Elizabeth kind of uses some type of god hand druid power and obliterates the hand. So it's like, you're sitting there thinking like, whoa, shit, she's got some latent power in there. And Derriere's like, I knew it was you. So I'm wondering who Elizabeth is. Which is what is making Meliodas so like in tune with her and so wanting to protect her and everything, which is probably the girl that he loves. Which this is where I'm coming with my my little idea. I'm thinking that when Meliodas started the war thousands of years ago, he was soulless, he was whatever, blah, 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 yada, yada. One woman from the goddess clan just so happened to just be so pure and beaming with like the purest of lights. Like she just it was a tiny light, but it was so pure that it literally caught Meliodas off guard, and he fell in love with her. And then basically she got destroyed. She got reincarnated as Elizabeth, the first Liz, which is why Meliodas is like super into her. And then, which actually, okay, so she got reincarnated as the first Elizabeth. That Elizabeth died because the 7 deadly sins were brought together, which is weird because there's 2 of them. There's like the one Elizabeth that he loved, which was the older version, which he used to grope and do everything with. And then there's the new Elizabeth that's super young. That's like the newest version. But I don't know what time period they are because the 7 deadly sins were together before. But then now they're together again in this version where the new Elizabeth is now a baby. So I don't know what the time things link, but whatever. So then Derriere comes back. She's sitting there about to give the final blow to Elizabeth. Elizabeth's like, ah! And of course Meliodas comes back from the grave. Cross counter! Boom! Hits her right in the stomach and takes her out. Montpierre is sitting there about to defend his little boo thing. And basically, chapter 189 kind of closes up a short chapter. Derriere comes back with... She has to come back with full strength because Meliodas is back. He's healed. He's back in full effect. He's got all his weapons and everything. He's back. So it's like they knew he was dead, but they're like, how did he come back from the grave, number 1? It is him, number 2. And Derriere is not taking any punches. So she sits there and starts her combo up. And basically by the time she gets to the time where she hits Horkmom, she's at 52 already. So then now Hork is jumping in, which is about to give her 53, which she's probably going to dog him, which Hork might be able to diffuse some of that by eating it, maybe, or using that demon, that spirit that he just devoured, whatever. But she's up in the 50s, so which means Meliodas is going to have to take whatever tons of force that are coming down at him right now immediately in the next chapter. So we'll find out when the chapter drops, but whoa, God, that was a lot. Whew. So much happened. So much happened. But Nanatsu no Taizai, my God, they are doing it real. And I'm just saying, the thing about it is like, the sucky part is that the best time for them to fight would be Diane would have to have her memory back to then give King enough, like love force to give him to be able to use his Chasterfold unlock completely. And then, of course, Escanor would be at the top of his game. Merlin would be there, moving people around or out of danger if need be. Meliodas sitting there, reverting like cross counters and everything. And Bond destroying stuff here and there. And then Gowther, of course, pinning people down and stuff like that. But that would be the best time. Like high noon, McCree all day. That would be probably the best time for the 7 Deadly Sins to win. But of course, they're never all in the same place at the same time. And they're also never all at their full strength. They're always like kind of rumbling themselves together to kind of form up the team. And the 10 Commandments are dropping like flies left and right. Like these guys are getting obliterated left and right. And when they came to attack the kingdoms, there's only 8 commandments left because Skrilla's dead and Garan's dead. So they only got 8 commandments left. And now, since Zell and freaking Esterosa seem like they're dead too, seems like we got another 2 that are dead. And now it's about to be, which that'll put them down to 6, but now it's about to be Montpierre and Derriere fighting off against Meliodas again. So it's like, these commandments are dropping like flies. The thing that I'm most worried about is the Demon King, because he's in purgatory and Meliodas made it out. He seems like he's fine, but how did he make it out of purgatory? Because the Demon King kept saying like, oh, the only reason you keep coming back to life is because I cursed you so that you can always come here so it can feed off of all of your emotions so that I can have enough power to resurrect. And I really feel like what keeps happening is they keep killing Meliodas, so he keeps going to purgatory. The Demon King keeps feeding off of his emotions, and at some point the Demon King is going to resurrect. And then all of these commandments are going to be for naught, because the Demon King is going to be 50 freaking billion leagues stronger than any of the 10 commandments 5 times over. So, but don't let the fact that even though when one commandment falls, another demon rises, get you down. Because the dawn always rises the Escanor way on a new day. The thing would be to subscribe. So yeah, if you haven't seen it already, my Let's Plays are over here. I always point to the wrong side. My Let's Plays are over here. Check some of them out. They're pretty funny, I think. Also, I don't know if my friend put them up yet, but I did some collab work on my friend's channel. Check her out. Willow Wish. She's got a couple cool Let's Plays. And she's working really hard at her job, which sucks because her Let's Plays are pretty cool. So, you know. But check out some of the Let's Plays. I also got a Toriko video coming up, or up. It should be up around the same time this is up. So, you know, check it out. And we got some more recaps coming. So if you're not caught up, this is the time. Catch up. I'm out.